Good morning, Pastor Ron Jetter, Tuesday, the 15th of September, 2020. Immanuel Lutheran Church, Grandview, Washington, around me here. I am in the sanctuary today, as with other Tuesdays, but where I am standing looks probably a lot like I'm doing Sunday worship, because this is the picture. Of course, I took a backdrop, and then because of technology, I'm able to superimpose that behind me. Today, as I think of this coming Sunday, when I will be in here leading worship, I want it to continue looking familiar. Some things will be slightly different. There will be the home audience. You'll continue, or congregation, I should call you, not audience. You're not spectators, you are participants in what God is continuing to do, the divine story that God writes through and with and in our lives as people of Immanuel Lutheran Church, of the worldwide body of Christ, of all times and in all places. One of the things, though, the people in the sanctuary, as they come in, and again this week it will be a limited number, we're gradually working into this, so don't take this as an open invitation to show up at 10 a.m. Stay where you are, keep your slippers on, have your coffee cup handy on your couch, unless you're one of those already planning to come that the council has known about ahead of time. But as people come in, they will take one of these small communion cups, and I can get closer very easily. A wafer on the bottom with grape juice on the top. They will open the bottom when I say the body of Christ given for you, and then they will open the top when I say the blood of Christ shed for you. And it can be set right down on the pew, and if it's kept upright, it should be fine, and then deposited in a basket back in the narthex near where they were picked up. We'll have to have bulletins, and afterward on Tuesday, then the men's group will come in, sanitize places where people have sat. If you leave your bulletin, that way we'll know where you sat. So we're gradually thinking, how do we do this? Meanwhile, the men's group is continuing to work on a couple of the lighting fixtures in the back, and I could turn around and show you. They really glare when you take the glass off, but when we frost that, it helps a lot. So that's our solution. Use the same fixtures, but just frost them to take care of the glare, and put in a different bulb too, so that we can get more light but better quality light, so that we can see and have them dimmable as well. So things like the lighting project continue to move forward at a snail's pace, as does everything. I hope this works. I have a microphone attached to me, and I can back up a little more. I can even stand up here on the first level if I needed to be able to greet everybody. However, today I need to get a little closer again so I can read my online Bible, because we're still in chapter 41 of the book of Genesis. We left Joseph finally in a good place. It seems like each time I have left the story of Joseph and of the others, it's been a time of some tension. And this time he's not only out of prison, not only in Pharaoh's favor, but has suggested to Pharaoh, maybe you could appoint someone who really understands what it's going to mean to manage these 7 years of plenty so that we can get through the 7 years of famine. And Pharaoh says, who could that be? And Joseph, I don't have the slightest idea. Who could it be? And Pharaoh says, I think you do, Joseph. Well, in verses 40, 45, this is an interesting thing, because this is different than anything we have seen so far in the saga of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zophaneth-Paneah. He gave him Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, a priest of On, as his wife. Thus, Joseph gained authority over the land of Egypt. Why is that different? Because remember before, Abram married Sarai, who was from the land of Padan Haram, where Abram and his family came from. He had his son Ishmael by Hagar, who was of the land of Canaan. And no descendant from the land of Canaan could inherit the promise given from God to Abraham. When Abraham's son Isaac was then born, and Isaac himself needed a wife, where did he go? His father said, do not take a wife from the Canaanites, from the foreigners. Go back to my father's house. And so Abraham's brother Nahor said, well, okay, then my son Laban will, or his son Laban then was Isaac's uncle. And as we know, Isaac worked for, Isaac then got Rebekah back in the land. And then Jacob, their son, had to go back to that same land to work for Leah and for Rachel. In any case, though, they kept going back to the homeland and marrying within the family so that they would not marry a foreigner. It was not allowed. And here Joseph, one of the 12 sons of Jacob, has now married a foreigner. That tips us off as the reader. If you like mysteries, I love to read mysteries. I like to write mysteries, sci-fi mysteries. Second one just came out today on Amazon. Yay, it's available as an ebook. Just Google my name, Ron Jetter, and if you like sci-fi, go ahead. There, a cheap plug for my book. But Joseph has married a foreigner, a daughter of one of the high priests of Pharaoh in Egypt. So now Joseph is very much an Egyptian. He's no longer an Israelite. So when you think of the 12 sons of Jacob and the 12 tribes of Israel, Jacob having had his name changed, why is there no tribe of Joseph? Because Joseph never left Egypt. The others will all leave Egypt. There will be tribes named after the brothers. Judah will be the largest of the tribes. Simeon, Reuben, who were both older than Judah, Gad, Naphtali, Issachar, and all the others, Benjamin even, there's a tribe of Benjamin. Interestingly enough, even though Judah is the only one that really survives to this day, which is why we call them Jews and the religion Judaism, the tribe of Benjamin, named after Joseph's young brother, was the smallest. And Paul says, I am a Benjaminite. So even in the time of St. Paul, they maintained this distinction that though they had been absorbed by great Judah, nonetheless little Benjamin, part of the children of Israel that survive to this day. So Judah and Benjamin, but no Joseph. There are no Josephites. Joseph became a foreigner. Why? Because God needed him in a place of power in order to preserve the lives, the legacy, the children and grandchildren of his brothers. 46. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh, went through all the land of Egypt. During the 7 plenteous years, the earth produced abundantly. He gathered up all the food of the 7 years when there was plenty in the land of Egypt and stored up food in the cities. He stored it in every city, the food from the fields around it. Joseph stored up grain in such abundance like the sand of the sea that he stopped measuring. It was beyond measure. Before the years of famine came, Joseph had 2 sons, whom Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house. The second he named Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of misfortune. So the name Manasseh, I've forgotten my former troubles, and Ephraim, I have been made fruitful by God. Okay, so there is no tribe of Joseph. Joseph is Israelite, and is Egyptian now. His wife is Egyptian, but these 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Well, if you look at the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, there was a tribe Manasseh and a tribe Ephraim. So somehow the 12 sons of Jacob/Israel don't become exactly the 12 tribes. We've got to make room for Ephraim and his brother Manasseh to leave their father Joseph and become Israelite all over again. Join their uncles as part of the inheritors of the promise of God. But wait a minute. Okay, so you're replacing 2 nephews with 1 brother. That's now 13. But we've got 12 geographic tribes. That means one of those 13 brothers can't have a geographic tribe. We need to give that brother and his descendants a special job. I wonder what that will be.